You know, when you hear 5G, the first thing that probably pops into your head is speed, right? Super fast downloads, no lag, all that good stuff. But one of its most important upgrades is almost completely invisible. It's all about how your phone protects its true identity, basically hiding in plain sight. Let's get into it.
So let's just kick things off with a question that gets right to the heart of the matter. Picture this. You're walking through a city. Could some stranger nearby, with the right piece of tech, silently grab your phone's unique identity and use it to follow your every move?
Well, the really unsettling thing is that for years on older networks, we're talking 2G, 3G, and yeah, even sometimes 4G, the answer to that question was a definite yes. This wasn't some minor bug, it was a fundamental vulnerability in how our phones talk to the network, and it left millions of people wide open to potential surveillance.
So how on earth was this possible? Well, the whole vulnerability really boiled down to one key problem: plain text exposure. Your phone's most sensitive, permanent identifier was being broadcast out in the open without any protection at all.
And the tool used to take advantage of this weakness is called an IMSI catcher. You might have heard it called a stingray. It's basically a fake cell tower. It just blasts out a really strong signal, tricks your phone into connecting to it instead of the real tower, and then it simply asks, "Hey, who are you?" And your phone, not knowing any better, would just hand over its permanent identity number, the IMSI, in plain, unencrypted text.
And once an attacker had that IMSI, well, it was pretty much game over. They had your phone's unique serial number. They could track your location, they could monitor where you were going, and use that info for all kinds of targeted surveillance. This was the massive privacy hole that absolutely had to be fixed.
And that, finally, brings us to the 5G solution. Now, 5G doesn't just put a Band-Aid on this problem, it completely redesigns identity from the ground up. And it does this by introducing a new concept called the SUCI.
Okay, so first, we need to understand what we're actually protecting here. In the world of 5G, your permanent identity is now called the SUPI. That's Subscription Permanent Identifier. You can just think of it as the new and improved IMSI. It's the crown jewel of your identity, and the #1 rule is that it must never ever be sent out in the open over the air.
So if your phone can't send its real identity, what does it send instead? This is where the magic really happens. It sends something called a SUCI, a Subscription Concealed Identifier. And you should think of it exactly like the slide says. It's an encrypted disguise. The SUCI is a totally scrambled, locked-up version of your real identity that your phone creates just for that moment to keep itself safe.
Okay, so how does this disguise actually work? Well, the secret sauce is a really powerful type of encryption. We're talking a massive leap forward from what older networks were using.
It all comes down to a really clever pair of digital keys. See, your mobile network creates two keys that are mathematically linked together. One is a public key. This gets sent to your phone's SIM card. Its only job is to lock information. The other is a private key, which your home network keeps totally secret under lock and key. And its only job is to unlock the stuff that was locked with the public key. So let's walk through how this actually plays out. It's a simple but absolutely brilliant three-step process. First, your phone takes its real identity, the SUPI, and uses that public key to lock it up, creating that scrambled SUCI. Second, it sends that encrypted SUCI over the air. Then third, that SUCI arrives at your secure home network where they use their secret private key, the only key in the entire world that can do it, to unlock it and confirm it's really you.
So the crucial question is, what does this all mean for our old enemy, the IMSI catcher? How does this brand new system hold up against that old threat?
Right. On an older network, when that fake tower asked, "Who are you?" it got back something like this, a clean, readable number that pointed directly to a user. It's literally like shouting your most personal ID number in a crowded room. Not good. But now, with 5G, when that same attacker asks the exact same question, this is what they get: a long string of meaningless, encrypted gobbledygook. It's not a number they can use, it's just a locked box, and they have absolutely no key.
And that's the whole ballgame. Without that secret private key that only the network has, this encrypted data is completely and utterly useless to an attacker. It's just digital noise.
And this table really just sums it all up perfectly. On the old networks, we were sending the IMSI, often in plain text. On 5G, it's the SUCI, and it is always encrypted. The tech behind it shifts from older methods to this powerful asymmetric cryptography just for identity.
And the bottom line? We go from a system that was fundamentally exposed to IMSI catchers to one that's resistant by its very design. I mean, it is a night and day difference for your privacy.
This isn't just a simple technical upgrade. What it really represents is a fundamental shift in the whole philosophy of how we build secure communication networks. And that philosophy has a name. It's called privacy by design. It means that instead of building a system and then trying to tack on privacy features later as an afterthought, you make protecting privacy a core, non-negotiable requirement from day one. 5G was built from the ground up with the idea that your identity isn't something to be shared, it's something to be protected at all costs. Now, we have to be realistic here. This is a huge leap forward, but of course, no system is perfect. Attackers can still potentially see some metadata, like which cell towers you're connecting to, and they can observe general traffic patterns. And what's really crucial to remember is that this protection really depends on you being on a full, modern 5G network. If your phone gets forced to fall back to an older 4G or 3G connection, well, some of those old risks could pop right back up again. But look, if you take away just one single thing from this entire explainer, it should be this. For the first time ever in mainstream mobile tech, protecting your identity from being spied on over the airwaves wasn't an afterthought. It was a primary, first-class design goal from the very beginning. So this leaves us with a final big question to think about. The principles we've seen here, encrypting identity before it's ever shared, are incredibly powerful. As basically everything in our lives gets connected, from our cars to our coffee makers, what could this privacy by design philosophy mean for protecting all of our most personal data in the future?